Florida appeals judge's ruling striking down redistricting map pushed by Ron DeSantis. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis gives a news conference in the aftermath of Hurricane Idalia on August 31, in Steinhatchee.Sean Rayford, Getty Images. The state of Florida is fighting back against a court decision that struck down a redistricting plan pushed by Governor Ron DeSantis, announcing this week that is appealing the ruling. The notice of appeal filed Monday by Florida's Secretary of State Byrd was widely expected in response to a state judge's decision Saturday in the ongoing legal battle over Florida's congressional map. The appeal also puts on hold the judge's ruling. The new map, drawn in 2022, erased a Florida congressional seat for a district where 46% of voting-age residents were black. Lawson, a black Democrat, represented the district and promptly lost re-election in the newly drawn seat that year. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than the plan also increased the number of GOP seats in Florida's 28-member delegation. In his opinion, Circuit Court Judge Lee Marsh wrote that the DeSantis-approved map violated the state constitution by diminishing the ability of black voters in North Florida to elect representatives of their choice. He ordered the state legislature to draw a new one. Marsh's ruling was a victory for voting rights advocates, including Black Voters Matter, Equal Ground and the League of Women Voters of Florida, who sued the state and said the new map violated the state's Fair Districts amendments, which stipulate that new seats can't diminish minority voters' ability to elect a politician of their choosing. The advocates argued that the new map was the reason why Lawson failed to get re-elected in 2022, losing by nearly 20 points. You can't take away a district or retrogress a district that allows for minority voters to elect a member of their choice, said John Bisogno, president of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, which has been supporting plaintiffs. In a February 2022 memo, DeSantis and his office called the stretch of land previously known as the 5th District, housing the state's only majority African American county, an example of a racial gerrymander. Months later, at an April 2022 news conference, he promised, "We are not going to have a 200-mile gerrymander that divvies up people based on the color of their skin. That will be litigated." DeSantis' office intervened in the redistricting process, rejecting a map created by the legislature and coming up with one that erased the Lawson district. The governor called a special session and used his veto power to ensure his version was implemented. Civil rights lawyers like Cecile Schoon found the actions by the governor at the time surprising, and further disappointing once the Florida legislature capitulated. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than. In the past, governors have kept their hands clean, said Schoon, who is also co-president of the League of Women Voters of Florida. They've not drawn their own maps. The governor's actions were incredibly aggressive. Now with the state's appeal, the case heads to the Florida Supreme Court, which has a majority of conservative DeSantis-appointed judges. Despite the celebration from the plaintiffs over the weekend, Harvard law professor Nick Stephanopoulos said this is far from a done deal. It's totally routine in redistricting cases for plaintiffs to win at the trial court level, and then to have some higher court reverse the decision, he said. With redistricting battles simultaneously making headlines in states like Alabama, Louisiana and Georgia, Bisogno said he expects map challenges are the new normal. "We have absolutely entered an era of perpetual redistricting. It's a new time," said Bisogno. "It's a new moment in which we're going to be continuing to fight these fights over the course of the decade instead of just a year, or 2 years, after a census." As for the current case in Florida, both sides say they are eager to expedite the process to have their version of a map ready in time for the 2024 elections. Republicans currently have a narrow 222 to 212 lead over Democrats in the House of Representatives, and the outcomes of the latest congressional map battles could have big implications in the Congress's balance of power.